Hello and welcome to another podcast. In a world where startups are often defined by how much they raise, today's conversation is with someone who chose a very different path along with his other co founders. At a time when venture capital becomes the default, he helped build one of the largest, world's most respected SaaS companies quietly, profitably, on their own terms. Rajendran Dandapani, Raj as I will call him, isn't just a co founder, supporter, and a lifetime Zoho employee. He represents a philosophy of building that prioritizes depth over hype, patience over speed, and independence over external validation. Today, we will go beyond the headlines to understand what it really takes to build enduring companies in a noisy world and what founders and early stage employees can learn from choosing the harder, quieter road. Raj, it's a pleasure to have you with us. Warm welcome to the
Thank you.
show.
Thank you. Thank you. It's indeed a pleasure. And sorry, there was a delay in connecting with you and getting started, but finally we are together here.
Yes, and I am joining from Jakarta. And where are you joining from today?
Chennai, India, where I live.
Okay, that's fantastic. Most of our learners in India come from Tamil Nadu. We have upward of 100,000 learners there, so that's good to know. So, you are known as a quiet builder in an industry that celebrates loud founders. We see them all over the social media. Before, before Zoho happened, what shaped how you think about work, risk, and independence? When you were studying in your early career, something would have shaped how you think about work, how you think about risk, how you think about independence. What was that?
Yeah. So I have always held this as a guiding principle never to claim or act as if you have reached a threshold moment or crossed a milestone. And now, looking back, we can proudly tick off some good decisions we made and right choices and so on. I look at this as an ongoing journey. And in fact, when I compare what's waiting to be done, what is ahead of us, and I see what little we have done till now, frankly, truly, we realize that we have just scratched the surface. We are just getting started. So, with that, some may think that this is a facade of humility that somebody is wearing. But frankly, take it from me, take it from us. Um, this is the only stance we have had 30 years in our journey as a company.
It's interesting you
You
say
asked
that.
me,
I'll
yeah.
just pause you there for a moment.
Uh-huh.
A lot of young people, when they hear successful people like yourselves who come across with great humility, they tend to think that they became humble after they became successful. Whereas I
Oh,
tell
okay.
them they became successful because they were always humble. It's the other way around. You just don't get it. Go
Yes.
ahead. You were
Well,
making a point.
well said, sir. So when I look at my family and the family of the founders, Sridhar Vembu, the Vembu family, the game is always a marathon. It is always one little step at a time, ensuring you're enjoying the journey, ensuring you're not doing harm to those around you, ensuring there is enough left, no debt is incurred for short term gain. Yeah. So when you look at it from, okay, you can even call it a typical middle class Indian mentality. I'm sure every country this goes, there is always this middle class who don't dare to dream big because this is the life they have lived all along. There are these physical laws of gravity that pull you down anyway. So one thing we surely did was dream big. But the other thing that played along, almost like the second metal path of that railway track, was we always ensured that we were grounded. grounded in that reality of where we are. So while we dream big, to also start small, to make a few experiments and keep failing fast and realigning in an agile manner, I think that would have paved the way even before this company started. As a student in school, as a graduate in college, the dream continues to be big, but our feet are firmly planted on the ground, and typically we want to own that ground. Yeah,
I
we want to
understand that.
stand in our ground.
So I just want to dig a little bit more over there.
Uh,
When we are young, we all have almost similar dreams: financial independence, to be recognized in society, to do better than our parents, etc. Was there the moment early in life that made you uncomfortable with following the default path? Because you've done something different, right? It takes courage. You need some escape velocity to escape from the middle class trap. Was there a moment early in life, there was a pivot point, or was it just a process?
our parents struggled very hard to put food on the table, to keep the family running. Large families, to keep them running, they really slogged. And the one lesson they kept telling us the moment we moved into young adult phase from the carefree childhood phase, in fact, even during the carefree childhood phase, the one lesson they kept telling us was excellence matters. In fact, many years later, when Zoho, it was called AdventNet at that time, when
Mhm.
AdventNet wanted a byline, it was called AdventNet because excellence matters. That's how we started. I mean, it doesn't even sound like a software company, but it was so ingrained in us that given the societal pressures, given the position we are in, given the other, including caste in India, including
True,
all
true.
those, there is only probably one way for you to break out of this multi generational trap, like you correctly put. Just excel. Do such a good job that they cannot ignore you. Yeah.
So
In even today, yeah.
let me go back to those early days when it was called Advent. What was the most fragile phase when the company could genuinely have failed? And in those early days, entrepreneurs make these choices, right? They don't have money. So they make these choices with what matters most. Is it customer trust? Is it product depth? Or should I just survive and take a shortcut? Was there an early fragile phase where things could have gone kaput?
Yeah. Frankly, sir, even today, 30 years later, 18,000 employees strong, a $1 billion company in India, even today, we continue to gently, once in a while, shiver at the possibility of utter failure. That is always around the corner. Every time we have faced that utter failure, we have been lucky, we have been industrious enough to turn that into an opportunity and ride the next wave. But we know about waves, they keep coming.
Yes.
Long ago, when we were a software company, AdventNet in a little garage, middle class 3 BHK flat, the first wave that hit us was the telecom bust. Yeah. So we were building software for telecom companies, and we came to know early, we were foresightful enough to sense that this is not going to be sustainable. There is going to be a consolidation phase. So many of our customers are going to go out of business, and that's the worst thing that can happen to a company. And we pivoted. We pivoted from building software for hardware to building software that managed hardware. Yeah. So that was the first pivot. And we continued to pivot when a Web 2.0 started appearing in the early 2000s, where the internet was no longer just a place to consume content. You could actually create content. YouTube was born. Blogspot was born. So places to create content, we thought, can we become the engine of creation? Can we democratize the platform based on the web? We were SaaS even before SaaS became a word. Yeah. So, and that wasn't over. Then came the housing bubble. Then we were so focused on America, we had to move and say, oh, America can't be the biggest uh, pie for a slice in the pie. So go to South America, go to Africa, go to Australia, go to Europe. So we diversified. Not done yet, COVID hit us. And just when we think we are coming out of it, there is an AI wave where everybody, every kid in every corner in the street is now saying, I can build a SaaS application in 2 days. Yeah, without realizing the concept of security, data privacy, scalability, and so on. Yeah. So, was there a moment? There continue to be moments, but the the thankful and happy when we look back aspect about it is because we kept our needs low, we were able to bank on our storage, our kazana. Yeah. So we already had saved for the rainy day, and hence we were able to continue experimenting and hence successfully pivoting. We are not the type of company who, just because they got an infusion from venture capitalists, suddenly goes from 100% company to 1,000% company overnight. And then suddenly, because somebody releases the next version of their amazing software, some customer loses interest or faith in us, cut that same 1,000 workforce to a 500 overnight. We have done
Yeah.
neither. Yeah.
So, just on that, Zoho has famously stayed away from venture capital. Uh, what was the real? What are the real unspoken costs of VC funding that young first-time founders underestimate?
Um, Sridhar, the founder of this company, often says for every philosophical pillar on top of which we have built this good company called Zoho Corp, things that we believe we have taken as principles that guide our life and our business. For every such philosophical pillar, there is a diametrically opposite pillar somewhere else, on top of which an equally successful company has been built. So, in other words, he says there are no absolute truths. As long as you can firmly believe in it and embrace it for life and passionately drive towards it while keeping your unnecessary expenses in check, there are many paths to the destination that you are aiming for. Okay, let's understand that. But the typical VC trap that we thought we had successfully avoided, and we keep going around telling people to stand on their feet, be bootstrapped, and so on. The primary reason is quarter to quarter profit showing, demonstrating that we are doing well, that unnecessary artificial external pressure from somebody who doesn't understand how we think and what we want to do, but has opened their purse to us, and hence we are duty bound to keep responding to this intermediary. They are neither a customer nor an employee, but they are playing a very important limiting role in all our dreams. That is the most important reason why we opted against it. We call that agency, the liberty and the freedom to go ahead and create an abject failure. It is okay to monstrously screw up. It is okay because only when you take such risks, you also get disproportionately great gains. You can look at the history of particularly technology, particularly software technology, things that have been risked. I was reading about AI wave in a book called the AI Valley. It traces the origin of the early 2015 to 2025, those 10 years when all these companies, DeepMind and OpenAI and Google itself and Meta, how they risked some of their money winning cash cows Google risking everything and going on to Gemini. So these risks, I think a venture capital funded company will find it much harder. We were able to take those calls. Again, going back to our family faiths and beliefs, when there is a loan we have taken. So if you go back to our family system, when you have borrowed money from somebody, from a bank or from a neighbor, from family friends, the way you use the money is different from if the money is your own. Yeah, you will not splurge, you will think twice before going on a party and so on. So these risks, Zoho Schools of Learning is a 21-year-old experiment that we have been running right inside Zoho Corp. It is what we call a meaningful alternative to conventional college education. It's a 2-year program. We take students right out of school. We guide them, train them, immerse them into the company. In 2 years, they are employees. We pay them a stipend all along. Which VC in their right mind would have funded an idea like this? Yeah.
No way.
So, yes. So I think it comes down to agency and liberty to screw up,
So if
primarily.
so if a SaaS founder today says I want to set up a SaaS company bootstrapped, would you say that's still possible or the market has fundamentally changed?
It is possible even today, but if your domain is in the realm of atoms, if you are a manufacturing company, yeah, if you are in deep tech, AI, which means you will need GPUs in the dozens or in the hundreds, probably to launch you into the real play field. Even that, a bootstrapped company may not be able to afford it, may not be able to afford it. So, yes, to that extent, the playing field has changed a bit, but we still believe in the long game. We still believe a time is coming where GPUs won't be as famous as they are today. Today, that's the only way to go if you want to be a name in AI. But we think new technologies are coming. In fact, NVIDIA is using AI to design its next chip, which helped it design that chip. Yeah, so things may change
Yeah, things
drastically.
are changing quite rapidly. For me, as an Indian, it's a very proud thing that while we have always been known to provide large masses of people in the service sector in IT, Zoho was probably the first billion-dollar product company, SaaS company, as a
Yes,
brand that is recognized globally.
correct.
Being a chartered accountant, I was taught accounting in India on a particular platform. Today, across my companies, Indonesia, elsewhere, I use Zoho Books. I know the difference, I know how good it is. But a question related to that, Zoho built a full operating system for businesses, complete suite. How do you decide when to build in house versus integrate or buy?
Um, Easy answer, we have never bought. In fact, way back in 2000, 2001, when the largest bills for our IT teams were from companies like Adobe and Microsoft, those were the first software pieces that we wanted to build ourselves. Why should a presentation engine or a document creation engine cost so much? And then we realized the cost is not the cost of the CD. The cost of replicating that software is nearly zero. It's just the intellectual property and the monopoly this company enjoys. So, can we break that? So, we tried the open source route. We used OpenOffice, LibreOffice, and so on, but they fell short of some of our expectations, particularly in the collaboration domain. So, we saw the web as a great platform to build on top of because it's got collaboration built in, bolted in. And we were entering at that time into a world which was always online. There was a time when you had to dial up and go online. But it was India really benefited from that leapfrog moment. Yeah. So we were able to look around and see people were always online, connected. So we tried creating alternate software that could replace. So if the question is, how did you decide what to build next? We looked inside. What did we need next? What product are we using for bookkeeping? What product are we using for check in and check out of our people? What product are we using for storing all our backups? Can we create products instead of those high cost, feature limited products that we are buying? That was one. And yes, even though it was a peripheral thought at that time, it is becoming central to what Zoho is today. The thought of sovereignty. We are in India, we should be able to create not just big brain engineers that we give birth to, train, nurture, graduate, and they catch the first flight to a college abroad and continue working there. Instead, can we also create, make in India? So that is when Zoho became made in India, made for the world. Yeah.
It's
And
interesting you say that at a time when the Indian government has, for sovereignty reasons, opted for Zoho for many of its services. And it's a
yes,
proud moment because we were always captive to these international
yeah.
large
I will
monopolies.
probably use this opportunity because you have good viewership. I would like to impress upon you here that the Indian government had multiple applications. This was a tender floated. We were not the only made in India company. We fought a fair war against many other players. And now, yes, Zoho won that deal because we were good, robust, secure as a software data powerhouse. Also, the icing on the cake, the cherry on top, we are full blown made in India. So that's the combination.
Fantastic. Some one interesting thing observing Zoho, people don't seem to think of how long it has been for them to reach where they are. Many startups, especially the funded ones, optimize speed over everything else. Not even velocity, speed with direction. They just want speed. Blitz scaling, they call it. Zoho seems to optimize value and coherence. Have you ever slowed down deliberately and why?
Let me give a flat answer to this. Probably we don't know how to do the speed game. Yeah. So when there are great cricketers, amazing test players who really will not be able to participate, will not be even selected in a T20 game. They won't make the grade. They are the centurions. They are the wicket protectors, not the slam bang, hit or miss, overnight wonder kind of players. I am not belittling them. It is such a delight to watch those players. All I am saying is we are not such players. And in this wide world, there is enough space for both kinds of players. There are enough viewers for both kinds of players. What does Zoho look for? It looks for the long game, like I said. It looks to make money the right way. So we will never sell your data, we say. We demonstrate it by saying we don't have an ad service. Our free version of the product will run ads. No, we don't do it. Our integrations are open. We have our own browser. Ula is a browser that we have launched, open source. It doesn't track any data. So these are things we hold as our fundamental principles. And we say, because of these decisions we have taken, we are shackled for speed, probably. Are you ready to hop along in our bandwagon and join us for this journey? Because This is a slow train, perhaps, but this will not have accidents. This will not leak your data. This will work with you to customize for your particular domain, your particular company, your industry. And we are here for the long game. We are not going to exit, sell ourselves to a big company, a bidder, and all the data gets transferred and terms and conditions change overnight. We are here for the long game. So this automatically precludes us from playing. For example, why is Apple not having an equivalent to Gemini or ChatGPT? Because Apple took that decision. Pre AI, it took that decision and said, look at my Apple logo. That leaf is turning into a lock. Yeah, it boasted about how much it worshipped customer privacy and security. How can you say this and also do that? You
True,
can't. Yeah.
true. So let's change track a little bit to talent and young people's careers today. Zoho hires deeply from non-traditional talent pools. You referred to that earlier, your own school of learning. What has this taught you about potential versus pedigree? And related to that, how do you maintain founder level thinking across 18,000 employees without becoming rigid?
Okay. I'll two questions, so I'll answer them one by one. What has it taught me about talent? All these are external signals. A degree, a pedigree, the score I got, the university I studied in, are all external signals. External signals are useful and important when you have a sea of talent. Too many people just spamming you with their resume. So you try to use an AI that will scan all this and remove these universities, these grades, and settle down. But there is no AI that has yet been discovered, invented, or will ever be that can understand the fire in the belly, the intent to perform and prove this labeling villain as wrong. So we have seen time and again that students, graduates who probably weren't cookie cutter perfect. Yeah. They weren't toppers. They probably were last benchers. They were rebels looking for a cause. They were rebels because they didn't have a cause. They they disregarded the system they were put in simply because this system wasn't made for such people. They are people outside that system waiting for somebody to pull them together and give them a great why. When you give them that why, that and disregard the micromanagement, the how, amazing what comes out. Again and again, our founder keeps saying, talent is everywhere, talent is universal, but opportunity is not equally distributed. Simply because I am born in a poor family, simply because I am from a poor country or I am from a rural region, simply because the internet speed is not as fast as it is in a city, I have been shackled without my knowledge. I have not gained the experience that this entitled kid in that rich university has got. But deep inside lies dormant, latent talent. If only we can one on one look them in the eye, look for that fire, scratch the surface, and let that blossom pour out, you're going to be surprised beyond your wildest dreams. This is what we have learned. Because time and again, we have trusted people who didn't earn our trust. We trusted them even then. We will trust you until you give us a reason to not trust you. The typical approach would be We won't trust you until you earn our trust. Instead, we flipped that script. We trusted people. We went out on a limb. We stuck our neck out and gave them the keys to the important thing, important stuff,
So you
and
you
they
refer to,
proved.
yeah, you
Thank
refer
you for
to,
trusting me.
yeah,
Yeah.
you refer to fire in the belly, and I will ask you put you in the spot a little bit and ask a societal question, which many of us in India feel that at least in the big cities, the fire in the belly has come down, and we are probably becoming lazy before we get rich. Uh, do you see that? I mean, do we? Because I feel I have to go to tier two, tier three cities to find a willing learner.
Yeah. I don't want to be black and white here. City, bad. Village, good. And so on. I only want to say, like I said a while ago, talent is universal, opportunity is not. So out there is enough talent waiting to be discovered. That doesn't mean we will not look at the city kids. We do see here 80% of our employees are from the city, but we realize we will be severely limiting the potential our company can reach if we continue fishing in these red waters. These are red waters, red ocean, blue ocean. Yeah. So we should go out there to the blue ocean. There are 45 offices of Zoho Corp just in Tamil Nadu. 45 little locations, most of them rural, some of them 50, 100, and so on. The talent we see in those neighborhoods, yes, you can start differentiating, saying city kids are distracted, these kids do not have distraction, they are they mature too early, they feel entitled, all that we can bring. But I would say you will be committing a disservice to the city children then. So I wouldn't want to get into that. There is talent everywhere, and it is our job to not outsource it to an AI and to really go there, meet people. Steve Jobs has said it very beautifully. He said, the most important task of a manager, the only task perhaps, is to attract great talent. In fact, he should or she should attract talent that's better than them. The
So,
star talent, you should find a way to attract people who are better than you.
so tell me
That's what
something.
we try to do here.
So tell me something. You know, when you meet young people and you're interviewing them, what is it that you look for? That first 1 minute, what is it that you're looking for?
Okay, I'll be telling you a secret because I continue to look for people. I don't want them to be schooled using this trick. But listen to me. Um, I want to know. Okay, if you want, you told me that this is for youth, this video.
People.
So I'll give you a youthful example. Yeah, I'll give you a youthful example. What does a boy or a girl, when they look at the other person, when they meet face to face, if we were looking at physical attraction as the parameter here, what would their first thought be in that first minute? Beyond infatuation, beyond falling in love at first sight, and all that. The question would be, how much of this is makeup? How much of this is makeup? How beautiful and handsome are you really when you wake up 6 a.m. out of bed, no makeup, haven't brushed your teeth, haven't combed your hair? How do you look? That question. So look at the equivalent of that in an interview environment. I want to tear apart the layers of preparation you have put in. Yeah. the standard, visit the website, understand who the founder is, look at previous year question papers, visit Glassdoor, visit interviewprep.com, and break that mold. Try to dig deep and find out what really motivates you. One question I ask some of my interview candidates is, what would you like to take up as a job if the conditions I lay out are, you will be given a bank account, a very large, infinite bank account that you can't add to by working. Basically, you lose the motivation to make more money. It's all there already. You just need to turn up to work. The bank account is available. What kind of job would you want to do? And remember, no promotion. Job won't change. Environment won't change. Infinite bank account. What job would you want to do? So when you give them, I tell them, don't answer immediately, because the top of mind answer is usually wrong. And then one kid, for example, a 20-year-old just out of college, actually told me, "Sir, I shouldn't have come for this interview. Thank you for waking me up. I want to go back to my family and I tell them I am not cut out to become a software engineer." They told me that. So this, when you take away if you look at the night sky, the stars are visible only because the sun is not there.
True.
So take the sun away. Take the largest, easiest, lowest hanging fruit away. And then try to dig deeper into what motivated them to come for this interview, sit with us. And when you do that, when the conversation goes beyond that first 10 minutes, 20 minutes, that's when the ice melts. That's when real chat can happen. And they should interview us more than we interviewing them, because they are also taking a big risk. As we are making a big risk taking them into our family, it is easy to fire a person, but it is very hard to get fired. Yeah, it's such a depressing, devastating feeling. So you wouldn't want that to be happening to you. So you should interview the company as much. That's what I do.
So, in today's time, this pursuit of trying to find authenticity, which you were mentioning, has become more difficult because people come with similar looking CVs written by AI. And one moment you speak to them, you realize the guy doesn't understand a word of what is written in the CV. So I always advise them, please use it to get the punctuation and grammar right, but don't
Right.
rewrite it in a manner which doesn't look authentic. And, people are using the tools blindly and making a fool of
Right.
themselves. So, just
So
one, go ahead.
I'm sure you remember a time when the iPhone was launched and there was a automatic footnote in emails, a signature of sorts, where this person would humble brag that he had an iPhone by saying, ignore spelling mistakes. This is typed hurriedly on an iPhone. You remember that time? Yeah? Emails used to have a signature like that. And I was talking to a colleague recently, and I told that person, probably the time has come where we'll have to have a footnote or a preamble up front that says, ignore spelling mistakes. This was typed by a human. Yeah. Because, yeah, seriously, because if it was flawless, if it was perfect, pixel perfect, if everything flowed according to a template, you are gaming, you're trying to game me. I saw a cartoon recently where on the left panel, the uh, the employee is trying to talk about their manager. The employee says, here is a 4 sentence prompt that I gave to this engine, and it has created a 26-page report that I can submit to my manager. And this person is so happy. And the scene shifts to the other panel, and the manager is telling his colleague, Here is a 4 sentence prompt that I can type into this computer that will digest this 30-page report and give it to me in a four line summary. So, who are we trying to cheat? If
True.
you think you can cheat using AI, the same tool is available to the other person who is evaluating you,
True.
who is working with you, who is collaborating. So, I hope all of us learn the grave error in trying to use what you think is your secret weapon while everybody else has that weapon. When that This is what will happen, I think, the exact thing that happened with nuclear weapons. Today, the first bomb was dropped. Nagasaki, Hiroshima happened. And then everybody started creating weapon after weapon after weapon. Everybody stockpiled. I read somewhere that today there is enough nuclear weapons on Earth to destroy the Earth completely 25 times or something like that. But when was the third bomb dropped? After 1945. That is the third bomb. Everybody has one, and so nobody uses it. So probably such a time will come, and that is where the human touch, the the fragile fallibility of the human's existence will be celebrated. People will stop watching movies because everything can be generated by AI and start watching dramas in real life. Oh, there is a stage. Ah, there is a person. I see him sweating. Probably it'll be a reawakening of those olden days. I'm looking forward.
I think you put it very aptly. If you look at comedy, if you look at the best movies, best paintings, everything that is popular and people love, there is some imperfection in it. There is something that appeals. It's the imperfection that makes comedy enjoyable. It's an
Right.
imperfection in the actor that makes
Right.
it lovable. So that is definitely a point. Uh, we're coming to the end. I have just last two questions. Both of them more personal. Beyond scale, revenue, money, what you have achieved, what does success personally mean to you? How do you define it? What does it mean to you?
I think impact is what's the most important yardstick. How many lives have you helped in changing, helped in making feel better, putting a smile on their face when they think about interactions with us, work with us, conversations with us? To be missed when you're not around, to earn the appreciation of honest critics. I think Ralph Waldo Emerson put it very well what success means. Earning the appreciation of honest critics. I was talking to my students today. I asked them, what is the opposite of love? Everybody said hate, hate, hate. But the correct answer, I read somewhere, is indifference, apathy. It is not hate. Love and hate are actually very close together. It's those you love that you actually end up hating too. And many great love affairs started with hatred. But indifference, I don't care whether you existed. I was there here before you. I'll be there after you're gone. I don't even want to thank you because I don't even know you existed. That is what defines what success is to people like me, I think. Impact and the ability to have at least a small contribution to have made their life a little better, a little easier, a little warmer in the feeling. Yeah.
For my final question, I'm going to circle back to something you said earlier, that when we are interviewing somebody, they should interview us. Now, you, with your the students, employees, people you interview, and you get interviewed a lot as well. You're very popular on YouTube. I've watched some of your videos. What is that one question you wish people asked you, but rarely do or don't do? Is there a question you wish they would ask you?
Okay. Okay. So I wish they asked me how I manage my time, because outside they see me do a lot. I speak at events, I work with other speakers in my company, I run a school inside my company, I manage a large team, and they think I manage time very well. I don't sleep at all sorts of myths they believe. And I want to tell them there are people who support me, my wife, my son, they sacrifice. And in my team, they go through daily sacrifices. My unavailability, for example, my lack of depth of understanding of what they are doing, for example, there are sacrifices that I do. So this is no magical, mythical, superhuman in front of you. This is just a person who is a slave to habit. I always wake up at the same time. I always play a few games of basketball every day. I maintain a streak in some mobile apps like Elevate and Wordle and so on. I somehow bake in learning every day, learn something new as part of my work culture. I want to have one on one meetings with at least one teammate every day. So I am a slave of habit. Beyond that, there is nothing magical about it. Anybody can do what I am doing. So I wanted to debunk that myth. So I wish somebody asked me that question. You asked me, I answered it for you.
Now, brilliantly said. People often say, we have the same time as you, but you achieve so much. What they don't see are the two things you mentioned. One, the things I choose not to do. I don't socialize as much. I don't go into depth of many things. And there is a whole army of people supporting me behind. So to put one Roger Federer, his
Yes.
support team is 30 people. One IPL team of 11 players has got 200 people. So unless you have
Well
support,
said, sir.
you can't be a leader without followers. That's one. You don't see what I don't do. And second, the things I do as a habit, the powerful habits and discipline I maintain, you won't be able to do it for even 1 hour without looking at your phone, obsessively. So
Right.
that's one thing that stands out for young people. Thank you very much for joining us today. What stands out
Sure.
from this conversation is a powerful reminder that building a great company is less about chasing trends and more about that one uncoachable thing that I say leaders have: clarity of
Okay.
clarity of thought. You can't coach that in people. I may be
Mm.
wrong, but I'm not confused. Then comes discipline,
Beautiful.
conviction over long periods of time. In an ecosystem that often celebrates speed and scale, voices like yours, Raj, bring us back to fundamentals of product, people, purpose, values. To all our audience, if you are a founder or a young person, or even someone starting out doing anything, the lesson is simple but not easy. Build with intent, stay the course, don't outsource your thinking and values. Thank you very much, Raj. Pleasure having you here. Have a good evening. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks a lot.